There is a silent power that very few people know about, and even fewer ever learn to master. It is not the power of physical strength, nor the power of the loudest voice, nor the power of aggressive argument. It is the subtle, profound, transformative power of not reacting. There is something almost mystical about this kind of inner mastery. While most people are trapped in emotional turbulence, dragged around by impulses, triggers, and old psychological patterns, there exists a rare type of individual who remains steady. This person does not rush, does not explode, does not lose their center. They observe, analyze, understand, and only then decide how to act. And that is precisely what makes them so powerful. Immediate reaction is the primitive language of the brain. It is instinct trying to take control. Reacting is easy. Reacting is automatic. Reacting is what the untrained mind does. But the trained mind waits. The trained mind knows that every time you react without thinking, you hand the control of your life to the external world. You give other people the power to determine your emotional state. You allow random situations to dictate your mood, your peace, your direction. And that is one of the greatest wastes of human potential. Carl Jung said that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. This means that every impulsive reaction, every emotional outburst, every moment you speak without thinking or act without awareness, you are letting an unexamined part of your mind run your life. It is your unconscious in the driver's seat, emotion ruling over logic, the shadow making decisions on your behalf. But when you learn to not react, something extraordinary happens. The inner storm that used to control you begins to lose its power. Your mind stops being a battlefield and becomes a place of clarity. The world stops being an enemy and becomes a mirror. You stop living on autopilot and begin living consciously. This is the beginning of true freedom. The biggest illusion is thinking that staying calm means being passive, that not reacting means weakness, that silence means defeat. In reality, it is quite the opposite. The real weakness is not being able to hold back a word. The real weakness is not being able to wait 10 seconds before exploding. The real weakness is allowing any small provocation to break you. Have you noticed how emotionally unstable people try to drag you into their instability? How aggressive people want to pull you into their conflict? How manipulative people try to provoke you until you lose control? When you react, you fall into their trap. When you don't react, you destroy the trap entirely. Not reacting is like flipping the emotional table. The manipulator loses control. The aggressor loses power. The provocateur loses interest. The narcissist loses their mask. The envious lose their courage. The toxic lose their influence. Because nothing bothers a chaotic person more than someone who refuses to join their chaos. Not reacting is not running away. It is choosing when and how you engage. It is responding with awareness, not with chaos. Acting with strategy, not with desperation. Protecting your energy, not wasting it. To develop this power, you must understand something essential. The external world is neutral. What hurts you is the way you react to it. No one irritates you. You allow irritation to rise inside you. No one humiliates you. You interpret their behavior as humiliation. No one destroys your peace. You give them access to your inner world. This is not about blaming yourself for everything. It is about recognizing that the control lies within you. Once you understand this, everything in your life begins to shift. Situations still happen, but your perception changes. People remain who they are, but you stop being affected by every word. Problems still arise, but you don't collapse emotionally. Chaos still exists, but you stop being part of it. This is the core of psychological strength, the ability to remain centered while everything around you tries to pull you off balance. But how do you build this strength? First, you must observe your triggers. The people who irritate you most irritate you for a reason. The situations that upset you most upset you for a reason. And that reason is within you. Not reacting begins with examining what lies beneath your reaction. Sometimes it is wounded pride. Sometimes it is an old insecurity. Sometimes it is an emotional scar that never healed. Sometimes it is fear disguised as anger. When you bring these mechanisms into consciousness, they lose power. It is like turning on the light in a dark room. The shadows remain, but they no longer frighten you. The second step is the conscious pause. Between the stimulus and the response, there is a space. And that space is the difference between a controlled life and a destroyed life. That is the space where you breathe, where you think, where you decide. If you train your mind to live inside this space, you will never again be a slave to emotion. The third step is intention. You must ask yourself, does this response move me closer or further from the life I want? Am I acting like the person I want to become or like the person I want to stop being? Is my reaction based on truth or on impulse? These questions transform your mind. They elevate your level of emotional autonomy beyond anything you imagined. And when you reach this level, something magical happens. You stop suffering over small things. You stop falling into stupid provocations. You stop wasting energy on people who don't deserve it. You stop carrying burdens that are not yours. And then you finally understand. Not reacting is the new form of intelligence. It is emotional intelligence, strategic intelligence, spiritual intelligence, the ability to see reality without losing yourself inside it. But be careful. Not reacting does not mean accepting abuse. It does not mean allowing others to walk over you. It does not mean living without boundaries. Quite the opposite. Those who don't react impulsively can set boundaries with clarity, firmness, and respect. Silent strength is more powerful than aggressive strength. Conscious calm is more destructive than blind attack. The person who masters themselves dominates any environment. This strength changes everything. People begin to see you as someone reliable, someone stable, someone who doesn't get shaken by nonsense, someone who thinks, analyzes, and acts at the right time. You become someone respected, not for the noise you make, but for the firmness you show. And deep down, this is what every human being seeks: to live with a peaceful mind, an aligned heart, and a steady soul. But this does not come from outside. It does not come from the world. It does not come from other people. It comes from within. If you feel like you've lost control of your reactions, if you feel your mind pulls you into places you don't want to be, if small things have too much power over you, know this is not a defect. It is a signal that your soul is asking for awareness, asking for inner mastery, asking for a new version of yourself. And that new version begins now. Breathe, observe, wait, choose. This is the formula. Simple, profound, transformative. If this message resonated with you, if it helped you see yourself with more clarity or awaken something inside you, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. Here we explore deep psychology, philosophy, Jung, consciousness, self-control, and the path to becoming unshakable. If you are on this journey, you are not alone. Master yourself, and the world will lose its power over you.